What's up, guys? Storyverse89 here, and today we're going to be playing Kerbal Space Program. And you do not know how many times I had to edit this out before I finally got a good one. So here we go. We're just going to be building a super basic probe to start. I mean, to be fair, nothing's basic in my tech tree. I actually have a lot of parts, so I could go orbital basically immediately. But I thought I'd start off with just like a sounding rocket or something. I don't really need to go that far. So I have basically what would be the Aerobee in Kerbal Space Program. From, I don't remember what the mod name was, but it basically gives you all these very, very, very tiny parts that you can use to get some, I think it's atmospheric and temperature scans early in the game. This is extremely helpful for me, considering I don't have anything yet. Not that I really need all that much to start out, because I already do have the capabilities of going orbital. Yes, this mod pack allows you to go orbital basically immediately. Although the first orbital vessel is terrible. It is the what is it called? I mean, it's called the Easton, but it's the Vanguard. That's what I was thinking of. The Vanguard rocket, which is terrible in Kerbal Space Program, at least in this mod. And I'm not going to be using it probably ever, because it is almost immediately outclassed the second you get onto the tech tree. So we're just going to skip that. We'll call this one, because I can't call it the Aerobee, I'm going to call it the Bumblebee 1. I'm sure that's fine. Alright, and now it's time for our first launch to gather some early data and test out the Bumblebee's capabilities, because I haven't used it yet. Alright, here we are on the pad. Now it's time for our first launch, but before we do any of that, we're going to do the cheesy method, and we're going to take some data from the pad, and then we're going to immediately recover the vessel. And then we're going to relaunch it. Alright, so we got about 8 signs from that. That is enough to get one thing, but we are not going to get any of the main nodes yet. Nope, we're going to get launch stands, because I have the Alpha, I think it's Alpha Mendez's modular launch pads, I think is what it's called. And it just makes your rocket extra cool when it's on the pad, and I mean, it also comes with generators and stuff. And crew elevators if you want to be as realistic as possible. I guess you could drive your Kerbals out to the pad quite literally, considering there are ladders up to the pad, but I'm not going to make it that realistic. Although I will be following the path of having to do quite a few probes before Kerbal spaceflight actually happens. Because I thought it'd be a good idea to seem relatively similar to actual NASA, considering they launched a bunch of stuff before doing the Redstone. Unfortunately, we don't have any animals to test on, so we're going to have to use Jebediah. But we have already reached 25,000 meters, so now that we have done that, now we wait. There's basically nothing else to do with this rocket. That was my parachute, wasn't it? Well, that's not good. Yeah, that's not good. You know what, we're just gonna reset and try that again. And we're back on the pad. So, we are now going to retest this launch and hopefully not die this time. We are going to split up our science a little bit, though. We're going to take temperature now. Actually, no, that wouldn't necessarily be realistic. I mean, either way it could be realistic, so we're going to start off with temperature at normal height. Thermometer reads a balmy medium hot. Yep, another beautiful day at the shores. Too bad you're stuck in this rocket. But we are going to start off with a pressure scan. And cut off. Along that pressure. Nice. I also got another mod, if you couldn't tell, that adds even more reports on your different science experiments. So then you can, get a little bit more out of it. So, alright, here we go. Wait, oh, that's not good. We're gonna get rid of that. And that deployed way too early. I'm gonna be moving so slowly now. Well, not that slowly, I'm still moving pretty quick, but it's gonna take an excruciatingly long time to reach the surface. I should have put pressure on it. Now, this is a rather peaceful descent with these clouds. Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, I don't even remember where I got the thin cloud layer from. I honestly don't know where half of these mods came from anymore. Because I installed them, I uninstalled Kerbal Space Program, and then I came back 4 months later to find a bunch of random modded parts that I totally forgot about. So, basically, I'm in a way flying blind into it, both literally and figuratively. So, we'll see what happens. We're finally almost to the ground, though. You can see that booster blow up over there. Maybe I'll recover those at some point, but for now, we'll stick to non-recovery. And touchdown. Boop. Oh. I don't think that's supposed to happen. That's fine. And we're back at the Kerbal Space Center. As you can see, my resolution actually changed a little bit. Because for some reason, if you tab out and then tab back in, the resolution comes back to normal. We're going to ignore that happened, though, and we're going to unlock a couple launch plates. Now, I'm sure you're wondering why I'm wasting my science on launch plates instead of basic rocketry. Because I already can go orbital, but I just haven't chosen. I just haven't done it yet. So let's take my next contract. Of course, the next two contracts are escape the atmosphere and orbit Kerbin, which I could do in one rocket. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna play the little designed Vanguard. Now, the reason I say this Vanguard is so bad in this mod is it just is so unstable. And it carries so little weight. I mean, like, I don't know, man. I mean, it's just not very reliable in any way. Now, there are a few ways I can reduce this by getting rid of the Easton and just doing something else, but I decided to make this a little fancier in terms of actual look. Like, we're gonna give it this payload, even though that is 100% not what the Vanguard looked like. But we're packing Mystery Goo, so that's why. That doesn't fit. That is not helpful in the slightest. Okay, never mind. Looks like we're just packing Mystery Goo. And I was gonna bring something else, but I already packed a lot in this jockey, considering how pitiful the amount of payload it can carry, so we're just gonna stick with this. And of course, we need some kind of communication, although Mystery Goo's not gonna give us that much back. Although I think I might have gotten the full science haul when it comes to things like Mystery Goo, which usually have to be returned to get their full potential. Which I feel like some people might see as a little bit cheaty, but it is a mod, so I wouldn't necessarily say it is. But we're going to get this rocket together, and we are going to be using the... we're not going to use that one, that one looks weird. We're just going to be using the generic Vanguard stage, which is comprised of the Alpha... Was it the Alpha stuff? I think it was the Alpha. Wait, hold on, this isn't the description. Okay, let's use Easton. There's this one. Okay, well, whatever. We're already using this one. Now we gotta give it an inner stage. The funny thing about this mod is that it loves inner stages. It is like inner stage galore when it comes to this game. You'll get so many in this tech tree. And here we are with the main body and the pitiful 50.8 kilonewtons of thrust on the Easton 50's Viking engine. Ugh, it's terrible. On the bright side, it gets a fancy launch pad, so you win some, you lose some, but here we are. This is basically the entire rocket. There's not much else that goes into this thing. It's a simple 2-stage rocket, at most 3 stages. At most 4 stages if you wanted to stage them out farther, but whatever. We'll call this one the Bumblebee 2, even though there's nothing like its other counterpart, other than it is a rocket. So let's get to the launch. We're here on the pad with the Easton. Now, I was going to do the pad cheat, and I was thinking about maybe not doing it, but I'm going to do it. You know, why not? No, not revert. While we're here, we are going to pick up something at the administration building, because I literally forgot this place exists. And I have literally nothing. Well, alright, that was a waste of time. I guess let's get to the actual Bumblebee 2 launch. Now, I usually do the administration building whenever I remember it, because I do a lot of large-scale rockets later in the game. I have played a career save with this mod pack before, and I found it really pays off to do the bigger, or whatever the bigger rockets administration plan is, because it really gives you a lot more for your giant rockets, especially since I do a lot of moon missions once I unlock the Saturn V, which is called the Starness for some reason. But I guess all the names are copyrighted, so I guess we're going to have to stick with that. But here's the launch of the Bumblebee 2, and we're going to speed it up a little bit, because I'm sure you don't want to launch this entire thing. And it is already flipped. This is why I hate this rocket. So, you know, we just launched and it already flipped. This is when I usually do my gravity turn, and maybe I just messed it up, but this rocket really, really sucks. It's just so unstable, and if you add fins, it looks weird. So, really, I could probably make this thing more stable. Problem is, I just don't like the aesthetics with fins. But I may have to settle for it, considering that this rocket's literally just too wobbly. It seems a little better now, but we just gotta go lighter on the turning. It's also extremely slow, which is like its main problem. It's about as slow as the Prometheus 2 rocket, aka the Titan 2. So it kind of is a little annoying, only because it takes so long to actually get anywhere, and it's already starting to tilt again. So yeah, it's already having a little resistance as it's getting higher up. Oh boy. No, not again. I hate this rocket. Alright, we're gonna redesign it, and hopefully we'll get something a little better, because that was terrible. Oh boy, that was something. Alright. We're gonna give it some fins. Honestly, I don't care about the aesthetics on this one. I'm like always worried about aesthetics on my rockets, but like I can't bother making another rocket. I'm just gonna slap some fins on there and call it good. There we go, the Bumblebee 2, but with redstone fins. Or not redstone. I think it's the Juno. The Juno fins. I was thinking about doing the Juno on the first launch, because I think I actually do have the Juno unlocked now, but I don't know if I want to use it. I mean, I guess I could, but I'm going to try and get somewhere with the Vanguard. I feel like I might as well do it now that I'm here. I'm not gonna build another rocket. I'll just use what I got. Although the Juno is pretty good in this game. The Juno Redstone, well, I mean, Juno is Redstone, so Juno slash Redstone is really, really good. And you can already tell this thing is way more stable. But it's going a little slower. Oh boy, it's gonna be the longest rocket launch in a while. It's funny because I never use the Vanguard, like, ever in my saves, because it just doesn't work out. This rocket engine is extremely underpowered, and it's not even really the stability anymore that is really the problem. It's just the thrust. It is so slow. I mean, look, we're just now surpassing 400 meters per second, and I'm already almost out of fuel in that first stage. I mean, it also doesn't help that my second stage is, like, packed to the brim with fuel, but... And it's already lost control again. God damn it. I can't even turn it around. Okay, there we go. I successfully managed to recover the rocket, but... Oh my god, this apoapsis is pitiful. I don't even know if I'm gonna have enough fuel to make it to orbit now. Well, this rocket is already in shambles. Okay, yeah, it's not gonna make it. Well, actually, maybe. Nah. 257 meters per second left. Yeah, this rocket's done. Okay, well, that was disappointing. I thought this rocket was gonna, do something good for me, but it just kind of ended with a whimper. On the bright side, I will be able to get a little bit of science from this. I'm going to try and get as far as possible before having to dump this rocket. Can't do anything with that. Could I just spin it up and use up its RCS? Come on. And it is out of Delta V. That means we are dead in the water. And this thing is not meant to be recovered, and it only has one use. And it died. It didn't even have enough electric charge to send its transmission. Or did it? No, I think it died. That was the most useless rocket I have ever made. Wow. Alright, with that utter failure for our space program, that means it looks like the Juno will be taking its place. Man, I am starting to follow actual space history a lot closer than I thought I was going to. Wait, did it transmit? It might have actually transmitted. It means we can get stability, which unlocks the Burke series of probes, which is, I think, it's not the Mariner. I think it's the Ranger series of probes. I think that's what the Burke is supposed to be. The Burke is another series of probe that carried me a long time in my other saves. Like, that and the Redstone were like the two biggest probe and probe launchers that made it. So, I guess we're gonna launch the Juno, because, I mean, that one is guaranteed orbit. I always mess with its fuel count, so I might just leave it at stock and see what happens, because I never leave it stock. Or not stock, but just, like, not messing with its fuel in any way. We need some decouplers. That is the wrong decoupler. That's also the wrong decoupler. So, the Juno rocket, obviously there's only one Juno probe. And usually I don't use its entire staging. Like usually I overshoot my normal orbit. This one should be fine, all things considered. It should be able to make orbit no problem. Yeah, that looks good. That's the entire Juno. And then I know there's a nose cap for this somewhere. There it is. There's the good old Juno stage. And that is not. There we go. Okay, obviously I can't rotate it because that doesn't exist. But, yeah, we'll deal with it. Wow, 1,484. We could probably decrease that a little bit to 998. That should be fine. Alright, so I'm doing the inner stage. And I'm skipping the middle rocket because if we cut out the middleman, it should be fine for the Juno. It's still probably going to make orbit, so who cares? We're going to add some solar batteries to keep this thing from dying, just in case I don't want to end up like my last probe. We are actually going to call this the Bumblebee 3, because 2 was an absolute failure. Disappointed. And I think this is already the Juno, yep. We already have the Juno on there. We're going to slap that redstone engine on there, even though it's called the sandstone. And the 4 booster bins. And there we go. The Juno is complete. That is the entire rocket. And how simple this thing was. And of course, we got to give it the redstone launch pad. We have to. You can't have a redstone and not have it. Full height, there it is. Oh wait. Oh what? You want to do that? Whatever. Alright. We're gonna push that out a little bit. There we go. Alright, that's about as close as we're gonna get to the actual redstone. We're gonna push this down to the ground a little bit so it looks a little better. And voila, there we go. Bumblebee 3 is ready for launch. Now, this one has a Geiger counter built into it, I'm pretty sure. So we should be able to just use the Geiger counter to get a little bit of extra science. Actually, an elliptical orbit might actually be helpful for us, because that could get us high and low orbit science with the Geiger counter. So actually that could be extremely helpful to our cause. Unlike I usually do, and keeping the first stage keeping the first stage as long as I physically can, like to finish my orbit. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make it as close to as how it actually launched, and I'm going to jettison the first stage after reaching my desired apoapsis. And once we're in space, so I don't flip out of control. We'll probably wait till after that. Now, this rocket's probably the last time we're ever going to use it. The Juno's like just a first orbit thing. Oh, right, I already broke the atmosphere, so it's just getting to orbit now. Would have been nice to do it all in one trip, and that is still coming down? Man, that thing's still alive. I thought the thing died at this point. It already seems to be going better than our last launch. Got our little solar battery working. Oh, never mind, it's eclipsed. And if you're wondering what that third moon was, it is a modded moon that apparently has an atmosphere. I found that out the hard way on one of my other saves. So, yeah. It's a modded moon. I have never landed there, actually. I never desired to land there because it has an atmosphere, for one. I mean, I guess it wouldn't be that bad. And two, I just really have no desire to go there. I don't know why, but I've been like neglecting the Kerbin system, like the local Kerbin system. Oh, that is really losing speed. Use that to stabilize myself. Cut and... Whoa, that was a little bouncy. I'm gonna put you in hibernation because you are rapidly losing battery. Wow. Alright. I have not used this probe in forever. Like, I never used the Pathfinder. To be fair, it's like a one-time only, really, so I never really use it. But it looks like I have a reason to use it now. Because I need to get into orbit, and we're going to engage that solid fuel booster now. Whoa, my god. It's a bit too... Why did it jettison like that? Why is it still going? You know what? We're not gonna bother. And I guess we're in orbit. I'm gonna save that solid fuel booster for something else. Who knows? I may end up using the Pathfinder again. We are gonna put it in hibernation though, and wow, 1.5 science. That's so helpful. 1.5 science. Man, isn't that just sad? I have never seen such little science in Kerbal Space Program. But on the bright side, we have already gained high orbit. Wow, even in hibernation it is... Oh, right, I transmitted. I'm done. And there we can see Kerbin in all its glory doing, stuff, I guess. Kerbal's dreaming to go to orbit. And soon enough they will. But that is it for the Pathfinder. So let's return to the Space Center. Well, let's take a contract real quick, because I think it's probably time we got a little bit more. Why is that debris in the floor? Let's have 5 stages. What's happening there? Alright, well, we got 29 science. That was a pitiful recovery amount. We are going to unlock the Atlas, because we will be doing Kerbal grade flight in the future. Looks like our next one is returning to orbit. Returning to Kerbin from orbit. I don't know why I struggled so hard to say that. We have... Yep. Alright, those are our only contracts. I never do surveys because I don't often need them. Neither of these ones. So, unfortunately, that is it for today. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. See you guys later.